My name is Chang. I work as a lecturer in International Business School. My students mainly are work-based distance learners. So 60% of them are from British military. 40% of them are from civilian organizations. And today I'm going to share some of my user experience as a lecturer supporting these online learners using Collaborate Ultra. Okay, and these are my Twitter address. Okay, now before I start the session, I'd like to remind everyone, if you already know, the Bonos 6 hats. So during my session, please feel free to put on any of these hats. Take them in orders or whenever you feel it's appropriate. So what does the white hat do if we put on the white hat? To find out the information, to identify what are available there, technology-wise, resources-wise, that we can use. The red hat indicates the emotion. So whether we like it, whether we hate it, whether we want to use it, obviously that kind of emotional element in it. Black hat doesn't necessarily mean negative. It means that we need to critically view whatever the tools that we use. We need to be critical to identify what would be the best way that suits our learners' learning styles and our teaching styles, and to add on those engaging elements. That's yellow, isn't it? Yes. The yellow hat is the positive hat. So forget about all the negatives. Just think that if you were going to use this tool, what kind of way, what kind of approach or strategies you're going to take, and how you're going to put in reality, translate it into your day-to-day experience using Collaborate Ultra, engaging with your online learners. The green one is the creative part. So we have the tool, but how can we make it useful and engaging for our own learners, the learners that we do know? We have that kind of understanding. We establish that kind of really nice working, professional work relationship with them. And then finally, the process requires us to obviously look at the whole process in a very critical way to identify what stage, what kind of activities we can bring in, and how can we make it better for our students. So if you want to refresh your memory about these models, that's the book. Okay. And my experience of using Collaborate Ultra has to start from the work-based distance learning team. I joined in university in 2015. Sorry, 16. 16. And that's the time that I started to use this tool to engage with my online learners. We have students coming from 60 different countries and regions. So they are very different from our face-to-face learners. They don't necessarily come to University of Lincoln, this physical campus, to receive the lectures and the seminars, to attend these drop-in sessions, to see us. But they are doing 2 foundation degrees, 11 undergraduate degrees, and 1 postgraduate degrees. So what has made it possible? Obviously technology, obviously internet. And in my session, I'm going to focus on Collaborate Ultra. So it is the way that we connect with our online learners within these 60 different regions and countries. Our online learners, the journey where they start has to come from the academic skills. So we actually have this module that would prepare them through this kind of starting stage to let them know what exactly the higher education is. So Collaborate Ultra has been used heavily to help students to build that academic rigor, to be able to do their online research, to be able to critically read, to be able to demonstrate their critical thinking and critical analytical skills in their writing. So that's the journey that we kind of, work together with our learners. So Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, for those of you who have never used it, the interface is quite simple. You have the main canvas right in the middle where the students can see the lessons you prepared. I've just run a workshop earlier for half an hour. There is another workshop this afternoon. If you want to experience that, I'll be more than happy to guide you through. There might be some technical difficulties, but with the demonstration that you're going to experience, hopefully you'll get a better understanding about what this tool is. Okay, so as you can see that you can upload your profile photo. I would encourage anyone who uses the Collaborate Ultra, have that personal touch. Put a photo there so that your students, your colleagues would know who they're speaking to. Okay, microphone and a webcam. Obviously, with the distance, we don't have the physical contact. With these tools, we'll be able to make sure that people can hear us, people can see us, and we're able to see that kind of visual image of our students and make it, you know, the whole virtual experience more real. So the challenges and the strategies, obviously based on our user experience, supporting our work-based distance learners in all these areas. That's a physical learning environment in our university, in David Chiddick building, big lecture theater. So imagine that without this physical limitation, okay, can we still use pedagogical approaches to engage with our learners using a technical tool, an application like that? So physical space, virtual spaces, do they make a huge difference? Can they be quite similarly adopted and utilized to ensure that kind of interaction is going to take place? Technology is always, for me, the tools for us to enforce the pedagogical underpin, to get our students to be part of the learning process, to let them take the ownership of their learning and to enjoy their learning experience and learning journey. So challenge one, I remember when I started, it was all about this. I don't know if you think that tomorrow you're going to run an online lesson, online lecture with your distance learners, what would be your biggest fear? For me, that was my biggest fear. With a webcam, with a microphone, I'm sitting isolated in a room and there's no students in front of me. I literally actually got a little doll from my daughter's toy kit and put in front of my computer, just to imagine, that's my student, okay? So that could be the challenge for people who have not used it before. But we have our actual real learners. These are our real learners, Dan and Adrian. One is a civilian engineer and the other one works in RAF, in British military. So if you can imagine that you are still, talking to the real people, then that virtual reality suddenly becomes much real. And you feel, actually, there is not really much difference between the virtual classroom and the face-to-face physical classroom. The second challenge. So what kind of learning and teaching materials that we will be using and sharing and, having questioning and answering sort of sessions with our students. So Blackboard Ultra, Collaborate Ultra allows us to put all these activities docked in this area. So I've done a screen print. Because of the limitation of my time for this presentation, can't do a live demo. So try to make these functions interactive. Think creatively. Put on your green hat. Thinking in what way you can use these tools to engage with your learners. If you have a white canvas right in front of you, in front of your group of learners, how many different ways you want them to use this white canvas in your lesson? Doesn't matter what subject it is. So my question is, if I put an image like this, how many ways can you suggest that you would use this with your learner within the subject area that you teach? Is it a big challenge? How would you use it? Could it be an icebreaker? Pointing at it? Yes, absolutely. A discussion point about what's going on in the world, where you're from. So it's a good icebreaker. I've used this with my online learners. I ask them to circle where do they come from and what's the news within that area and what they have researched on. So they can draw, they can actually make some sort of difference on this image. Canvas, whiteboard, many ways, infinitive ways of using a whiteboard. If you want to share a journal article, okay, how do you plan to use this journal article in a physical session, face-to-face? And how do you plan to use it in a virtual environment? Actually, if students can access it online, having the laptop, iPad, mobile phone in front of them, things become actually much clearer. And you can put all these indications on the journal articles and create those questions, create those pausing moments, getting them to think, getting them to have an argument, discussion, debates, and identifying further evidence to link to this research. The next challenge is multitasking. When we're engaging with our learners online, when we talk, we probably can't read. When we read, we can't probably talk. I struggle with multitasking all the time. So, in order to deal with this challenge, we can ask our colleagues, we can use our students as learning partners. We can give them the responsibilities so they don't have to be the students all the time. They can be the co-presenters. They can collaborate with us, be the moderator, run the session using these links, using this tool. After a little bit of introduction, I think anyone can do it. Okay. And obviously group size. So if we have a big group, large group, can we actually give the students some parts of the responsibility to manage their own group and then come up with some sort of solution or suggestion or argument through their group discussions. And don't forget, in lectures, seminars, and drop-in sessions, the whole dynamics can be very different. And within each of these contexts, students' involvement can be very different as well. Finally, this challenge is the connections. We've had a little bit difficulty earlier. On the same round table, 2 users could connect, the other 3 couldn't. I used the Collaborate Ultra when I was in China, delivering lesson to students in North America, in South Africa, and to the students back in the UK. But 3 weeks earlier, when I was trying to use it with one of my students in China, traveling to China, it didn't work. So what is our plan B? Whenever we embrace technology, we always have to be prepared what exactly we can put in place promptly to help the learners to engage without wasting too much time. So Blackboard, obviously, and further resources using internet. And Collaborate Ultra is not an application on its own. When we finish recording, we upload it to Blackboard module sites so the students can access the recording 24/7, whenever they want. And using Panopto, we're able to look at user-centric statistics. So these would tell us how many students have viewed in the last week, and their identity. We're able able to see how many of our students, which one of them has spent 59 minutes, and how many have spent only 15 minutes, and how many have only used 1 minute. So this data actually can help to us to adjust our sessions to target those students who probably need a bit more help and need a bit more engagement and need a bit more motivation. For the data protection, I've removed their names, okay? So after I explained in a very descriptive way my experience as a user experience using Collaborate Ultra, do you have any questions you would like to ask? Thank you. And finally, let me encourage you, Collaborate Ultra is for us to experience, for us to explore, and for us to engage with our students. Thank you.